welcome to PlayStation Access. My name's Nathan, and I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
Dave, except both of us in this video are Morgan Yu.
You?
Me and you are Morgan Yu.
This has gone very confusing already.
This is Prey. I got to play Prey.
I know.
It's man, and obviously as a huge Dishonored fan, this was I was honoured.
Yeah.
To play Prey. Me and you, Morgan Yu. And this is 5 reasons. This is just 5 reasons I liked it, man. 5 things you should know about it. 5 reasons you liked it. Just 5 reasons.
Just tell me 5 things about it.
About Prey.
I'll make up my own mind.
So this area, this thing that you're watching now on screen, should be familiar from the kind of reveal trailer that they put up, and that was a kind of a mind-twisty, what's going on day after day.
Very much so.
Repetition, and that's mimicked in the first kind of part of the game, because on entry number 1, the game is smarter than you. That's what I like about it.
I can believe that.
And it's not just because it's no one thing. It's because it's in a particular tradition of games. The kind of these simulation games that have been. I think they were probably PC focused. In the 90s.
Yeah.
And what you're thinking about, I think that Prey specifically. Look how nice this looks.
Wow.
But Prey specifically is a kind of there's a lot of System Shock influence here and style. I would also say BioShock, but that's kind of a given if we're already talking about System Shock.
Yeah.
And obviously like the Dishonored style of play, which is like the kind of simulation gameplay where you're kind of in a first-person immersive environment, and the physics. The game just wants to let you bounce around inside its systems.
Yeah.
It's got that going on, and it's also got what I really liked about it was, like you could get into emails, and the emails would then, you'd have a little story. There'd be conflicts between people in the emails, not just backstory delivered, but whole kind of sense of the world. That stuff you can kind of run past it. Like it's a real Deus Ex thing. You can get like super into. All of the little kind of relationships that you discover in these kind of logs and stuff. And even this kind of environment, I can't really put my finger on it. This is really early on. You're basically sent into this sort of testing environment before, and the idea is that you're getting ready to go into space. You're joining your brother, who is already set up on Talos I, which is a space station. And the idea is that you're just going through some testing before you can kind of come on board.
Okay.
But there's obviously something slightly sinister and strange going on. All the scientists are looking at each other, and then the day just resets.
Okay.
And even the kind of element of just being tested just fed into the slight kind of step back cleverness of these games. I really liked it. And then you go through the same environment essentially, but everything's just a bit wrong.
Oh God.
And man, I don't know. And you always feel like the game is one step ahead of you. Look at this. This is my favourite. I didn't know it was going to happen when I played it. And then I was suddenly like, everything's a lie?
Oh, man.
And nothing made me want to play the game more than that. The game is clever than me also because the next thing I tried to do was just hit this camera. That was it twice. Back into the kind of specifics. I don't want to give too many kind of spoilers away. Number 2, we're just going to talk about the GLOO cannon.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Which I'm picking up here. And again, we'll talk about like immersive sim as this is. The GLOO cannon is kind of a big part of that. I think that people have kind of grabbed onto already. It's got some kind of in-fiction scientific explanation, but it's basically a way to just fire stuff at the wall. It freezes enemies, and also it kind of opens up pathways. You and I talked about the fact that, when like in Dishonored, how much testing must go into just... Once you give people a certain number of powers, then you have to test that it doesn't break your game.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
And so this is kind of just talking about the pathfinding. You can mantle onto the GLOO can only be fired at like walls, specific walls. Can't be fired onto itself because you can't build bridges. Oh, I love this, man. The mimic, by the way. If there are 2 objects that are the same, fire at one of them because one of them is probably a mimic.
Oh, that's terrifying.
As soon as it gets out of sight, it's like not itself anymore, but it's in the room somewhere. I really, really enjoy chasing them around. Yeah, so it can go onto walls like this, but it can't go onto itself. And so there are only certain places that you can go, but actually climbing up it is much easier than I thought. I thought I was going to have to balance on it or something, but you just kind of grab hold of it. So that's me just finding this whole kind of secret area just by shooting the wall. And it obviously, this is me freezing it again, but then going in a slightly more dramatic route afterwards. Yeah. Oh man, it's really good fun, and it's only one of a number of systems and different weapons that are obviously going to combine in various different ways. This was super early on in the game, so I didn't have any of the alien kind of powers whatsoever,
Right.
which I've unlocked later on in the game. And then there's an element of, as you become more alien, are you kind of losing that sense of yourself? This is just one more example of me. I like the way that I actually played this like I was in an advert. I was like, backing up, going,
maybe if I go up here.
Wait a minute.
I mean, I was going to say, you've sort of already said it, but I was going to say this is, a lot of other games would be built around this one gun. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing that this is the sort of great system, great mechanic they've come up with that you could build a whole game around, and this is just one of the many sort of mind-bending, amazing mechanics that they've got in Prey.
Well, and so the weapons and everything on one side. This is number 3 now. These are the Neuromods. So this is effectively, your kind of outsider power skill tree, if we're talking a direct comparison to Dishonored. And this is just a quick kind of email that you find. This is some of the background that you find about it. Obviously, I could have not seen that. I think in the first trailer, everyone saw this bit of you jabbing something directly into your eye.
Don't make me stick things in my eyes.
And this is then the menu behind that. Upgrade slots for, I think the alien powers becomes a 4th section here after scientist, engineer, and security. And you can see the kind of things that you upgraded. If I had my time again, I probably wouldn't have upgraded the things I did upgrade. I think here I just go for moving slightly faster,
right,
which is quite difficult to show on video.
Yeah. Keep thinking.
Yeah, I know. But then you keep finding them through the level, and then you can upgrade other things. And here it is.
No.
You have to look there. You have to look at it. Look right in the needle.
Oh.
And then it's in your brain.
There we go. Now we're in brain space.
And I like how it looks like a sort of a chunky 1950s, almost like Jetson style, like piece of kit. And there is like a sort of a gleaming modernist element, Art Deco element to the design, which we will come on to in a few moments. This is me grabbing something else. I think I get leverage here, which means you can just pick stuff up, but I only got leverage 1, which means I can only pick up, I pick a flower for no particular reason. I can do better than flowers.
But meanie.
Look, I picked up a bench.
Oh.
Yeah, check this out. I didn't actually find any enemies, but bit of a show of strength.
You pressed that bench
forwards.
Thanks,
Dave. And this is the next one, which I pick up something more useful. Here I go into the security menu, I think, and I get like the first of my sort of combat mods. And that basically means that when I go into combat situations, I can slow down time a little bit in the manner of, games that let you do that.
Thanks, games.
Combat Focus 1. And I actually did very badly at it a couple of times, but then here comes the glue gun again. You can see me combining it with, I've already chased that guy through the fire. So again, talking about the simulation and the physics of these games, he's on fire, now he's frozen, I've slowed time, I jump through the fire, and then I smash him with the wrench.
Oh god, yeah.
Which is just, 3 or 4 systems kind of combining for a one-off impromptu moment that the game hasn't scripted. Imagine when I get good at the game.
I know.
So this is number 4. This is just the visual design, which is, it runs through the whole thing, so it's kind of crazy to mention it. I just love how stylish these games were.
Yeah.
My PS4 hard drive is currently full of various logos from Dishonored 2,
right?
Which I just couldn't help. This Smith make, this safe, manufacturer, and just this guy on this boat, this sewage, this brass plaque here. And similarly, just going through this game, just thinking, everything looks so nice. So this is a bit further on from where we were earlier. And you see that, obviously I cracked through that veneer, that screen of my apartment. And what I really like is I've cracked this here, but you'll see that it's kind of strange two-way simulation glass. And it's only when I go on the other side that you can see the hole that I've just made.
Right, I see what I mean? You're saying,
and then I've smashed on that side. And then I can see it from here. And if I look directly through a bit, I can actually see the room. This is just kind of we talk about the kind of the Art Deco-ness of it. And that's, I think, what reminds me of BioShock.
Yeah.
The specific, architectural kind of influences from that kind of period and that style. Lovely wood paneling. And a kind of an optimistic idea. And I'm going to move on to the space station in a minute about Talos I itself. I just really like, and it does remind me of Rapture. Talos I does, just in the way that it fits lots of different styles together, like a kind of a classical styles, but obviously with kind of a futuristic edge.
I believe I'm right in saying that the idea of Prey is that, or it's kind of based on the notion of if an event that did happen in our actual world's timeline didn't happen, and from like the 60s, which and so you can kind of see, like, I don't know, it's sort of like a 60s idea of the future,
a projection
in a way, a kind of projection, exactly,
an optimistic kind of alternate reality almost.
Exactly, yeah.
No, you're absolutely
kind of
right.
Explains the visual design a little bit.
Well, that we will actually. There's a little direct reference to that in just a moment. Here I am, just walking through the lobby though, just to kind of give you a sense of the grand. You see what I mean about the raptureness of it?
Yeah.
And this is just another room which I felt was really nicely themed.
Am I right in thinking, Nath, as well, that the space station is sort of mostly open to you from the start? Like, you know, obviously you need certain skills, I'm guessing, and weapons to access more and more stuff.
Oh, sorry, Dave. I just wanted to go because we're on the style. This is I'm going to pause it here actually, and this is just because it's just a reference to the kind of games that the people who make Arkane now have made Dishonored, and now they're making this, and they talk very openly about having been influenced by Harvey Smith, you know, like kind of dungeon crawling games, like the Ultimate games. He actually worked on one of them, but they grew up playing these immersive sims, and at some point they were very much almost like fighting fantasy books, but in graphical form. And, like, you know, the idea of Fatal Fortress, or the idea that someone has their own kind of D&D or that kind of role-playing game going on, it just really seemed like a really nice nod to the past. And within the kind of design of the game, I really like that. And then actually, there was just also a nod because one of the studios that used to make those sorts of games really specifically was Looking Glass. Studios, which is where they made Deus Ex, and that is also there, just referenced really quickly when they run past. And here's actually the thing I was talking about, and that you were just talking about. This is entry number 5, which is just the space station itself. This is Talos I, and this is, you go into a kind of, there's a museum room within that lobby area that I was just talking about, and it tells you the history of the station, which began after the attempted assassination of President Kennedy. And then Khrushchev. So it's effectively as though they won the Cold War earlier and instead launched into a future of international cooperation. It doesn't seem to be what's happening right now. And then it kind of shows you, how Talos I became, it was first of all like an international space station, TranStar. And then it eventually became, into private hands, and it became this scientific facility in the 2030s, fully operational private space industry.
Right.
But the other cool things about it, like you said, it is open from the start. One of the amazing, I went through a kind of a secret hatchway. I got into the security station, which you don't have to get into. You can select anyone who's alive of the crew and then find them on your map using the security station. And so you can locate people who are necessary for certain missions. Some of them are in space, you assume they're dead, and lots of them don't have life signs anymore. But also then if you go back to your map, if you look at the lines on you see the dotted lines?
Yeah.
That is routes from one place to another. These are the places you can go. Like you said, they are open, I think, and you don't move through them linearly. You can kind of go from one to the other, and as you get skills, you can go back and search for new kind of pathways and areas. And then there's the exterior, which is my most exciting thing. This isn't my gameplay. I couldn't get outside because you have to fabricate something, and it comes later on in the game. So this is from a previous trailer that they put out, but some of those lines go outside, and they've modelled the entire outside of Talos. And these are my favourite sections of Dead Space. Space is really terrifying.
Yes.
But also very pretty.
It is.
And I just wanted to end the video with a kind of, this is maybe my favourite thing that they've done in Prey. Just a really, I just think they're going to nail it, man. I don't know, they're bringing over some things from Dishonored. It's obviously very different from Dishonored in the way that it's going to play as well. But in terms of the kind of principles of game design that they're going to, it just looks classy as all hell. And I'm really excited to play it. And it's not even very far away.
I know, it's absolutely mad. I can't believe how well 2017 is going for games.
Man, well, the only problem is there's a big stack of games that I've not even touched yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try and pile through them before this arrives in May. So, thank you guys for watching. Dave, thank you for joining me. Stay tuned to the channel. We're bound to have more on Prey coming up.